Hi again, everyone, and welcome to our latest summer video report. I'm Dion Zukiwsky, branch manager and portfolio manager here with you. And since it's summer, our theme today is going to be the classic road trip. We'll have a quick look at where we've come so far down the road in 2022. We'll add in a section that I like to call, Are We There Yet? And then we'll look at some direction, in other words, strategy. So when looking at the rearview mirror for the first half of 2022, Mr. Market has not been very kind to investors. Prolonged geopolitical events such as the Ukraine invasion, COVID shutdowns in China, along with a mix of high inflation pressures and rapidly rising interest rates have all contributed to a pretty significant portfolio detour. And this detour has not been the scenic route, folks, and we'll check out the following stats here. So we know that markets were under pressure in the first half of 2022, and even your basic balanced portfolio of 60% equities, 40% bonds or fixed income has been down in the double digits. In fact, global fixed income markets are in the negative of about 10%, and the US stock market had its worst start in about 50 years. The good news is that our Zook Group models fared significantly better, although we want them to improve in the second half for sure. So in keeping with our summer road trip theme, my family and I were recently down in Montana. It was a beautiful landscape of lakes and mountains, but not necessarily right around the corner from where we live. There was more than a few times when I heard my little guy from the back seat pipe up, "Hey Dad, are we there yet?" And you know, for the investment world, it kind of feels like that too. Are we there yet? Have markets finished their dip yet? Are we in a recession yet? Have interest rates stopped climbing yet? You know, for successful investing, like many things in life, we need to look ahead, not in the rearview mirror. So in pulling out the old map or Zook Group navigation system, here's what we see. And first is interest rates. You know, central banks around the world have been hyper-focused on controlling inflation. And one of their only tools to slow down the economy is by cranking up interest rates. And cranking up they certainly have. In fact, the Bank of Canada a few weeks ago recently raised rates by a full 1 percentage point. This past Wednesday, the US has also raised their interest rates, and we expect more rises to come here in September. So here's the tightrope walk. Will these rapidly rising interest rates cool the economy to where we see contraction instead of expansion? Now, if an economy has 2 quarters in a row of contraction, that technically is called a recession. The challenge is, of course, these are backwards-looking metrics, so we don't really know we're in a recession until it's already started. And many forecasts are for Canada to have a mild one later this year or in 2023. Let's have a look at how this happens from our friends at Scotia's Global Portfolio Advisory Group. In checking out the graphic here, we note that in the last 13 tightening cycles, in other words, when rates have been rising rapidly, 10 of those 13 times have prompted a recession. So what happens is demand slows down, consumer and business confidence weakens. The labor market adjusts, unemployment usually bumps up a little bit, and instead of growth, you have this contraction. The good news is eventually inflation does come back down, and then the tightening cycle will pause. In other words, rates won't have to be risen as much anymore and can go back to neutral. In fact, maybe even start to cut and provide that growth stimulus again. So even though it makes for scary headlines, the big R word is not to be feared. In fact, it is a normal part of an economic cycle before the next stage of growth can happen again. We see similar cycles in the investment world where markets get overheated, get repriced, and then have another stage of growth. The economy, just like the markets, have longer stages of growth than contraction. Which leads to my next point about market direction. Given the uncertainty around a recession, it's actually already being priced in, and how many more interest rate hikes are still coming, we believe there still could be some bumps ahead in the road for investors. The good news is that we are seeing more stability now than we have a few months ago, and predict the second half of 2022 should be quite a bit better than that first half. Markets are always forward-looking, and even if there is a recession, markets tend to start climbing about partway through the recession actually happening. So our navigation says to continue to stay conservative. However, we are on the lookout for more opportunities as they present themselves. Holding high-quality positions and investments in different asset classes will be the key to getting over that next hill and finally answering that age-old question, are we there yet? And that's all for now. Please contact our team anytime with questions. Have a great rest of the summer, and thanks for watching.